Hi, happy Monday. Another week and the sun is shining, even though it was meant to rain. So I'm really happy. The weather makes such a big difference um, on our happiness levels. Actually, I was going to talk a bit about that. Your serotonin levels. Um, it's really important to try and boost our serotonin naturally. And there's many different ways of doing that. But the biggest way and the best way is with light. And natural daylight, of course, is the main driver for that. Which is why in the summertime, most people are happier, not just because it's cool and hot. I mean, not cool, but you feel nice and cool. It's hot. It's just more relaxed. It's a nice time to be alive. The days are longer. All of that contributes to boosting your serotonin levels. So it's equally, in fact, probably more important to get outside in the winter as much as you can, just to have daylight, bright daylight, as much of the daylight as you can get into your system in the winter. It's a really, 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 really important time to really focus on that. Um, but the other thing that I've just read about boosting serotonin is that you can boost it through your mood. So a lot of time in meditation, in fact, we can do it today. Um, when you harness a mood, when you bring a mood into your system just by thinking about it, you can do that. You can think about being happy and bring it into your system. Um, that also increases the serotonin. So it's kind of like the mood feeds the serotonin, and the serotonin builds and then feeds the mood. So it's a kind of nice cyclical idea. But the good thing about that is that you don't need to have the serotonin first. You can bring that mood, you can induce that mood into your system and then build up your serotonin internally from the reaction of that mood, which I think is really fascinating information. Now, the other thing I was going to talk about today, we'll get into the meditation quite soon. I don't want to talk too much to you, but the other subject I wanted to discuss is when you are meditating out in nature, which I really recommend. Being out in nature is such a great way to um, be present, to listen, to feel. So listening would be, sounds of people's voices, dogs barking, right down to the leaves rustling on the trees, to your feet touching the ground, to the wind in the trees, um, to rain if that starts when you're out, to distant sounds. There's so much to listen for. There might be water spraying somewhere, birds' wings flapping, birds' song, the list goes on. And with feels, it's some of those things as well, like the wind in the trees. It's the wind on your skin. Um, Also, how your body responds to the elements as well, just being aware of that. You can walk mindlessly, maybe thinking about something, and not really focus on being presently aware, or you can be really aware and just kind of make that a moving meditation, a mindfulness practice as you're walking through the park. So you're noticing how your body responds. So when it starts getting colder, you can kind of feel how your body kind of, crunches into itself. It kind of contracts, your muscles contract. It's far harder to relax than when you're cold. Being aware of that. Um, and the opposite is true, obviously, when you're really warm, and you might be warm in the winter. You're walking so fast that you build up heat. So noticing if your body relaxes a little bit more. Um, the sun on your face. What else might it be? Just how your clothes are sitting on your body. Um, yeah, the feel of the air. Sometimes it's more humid. Even in the winter, it can feel like that when it's just about to rain or just has rained. And it depends where you are. If you're walking through a wood after it's rained, there are so many beautiful senses that are heightened in that kind of area. And then there's the smells. There's smells of summer. There are smells of winter. There's smells of autumn. There's smells of spring, and it's being aware of those as well. And yeah, everything that you see. I mean, you can see for miles when you're outside, if you're in an open park. I keep saying parks because if you can get to a park, that's probably your best place to be mindful, but you can be mindful anyway. You can be mindful in a busy street with all the traffic going by. But yeah, really seeing, and you don't have to label everything that you see, but as you're walking down the street or through the park or wherever you might be going, around the block, just seeing. So if you're presently aware, and i.e., you're not thinking ahead and you're not thinking of the past, you're really, really present in that moment, and you can practice that by seeing how you feel in your body. Do the same thing when you're with what you're looking at, everything that you pass. Just really look at it. Just really take everything in as you're passing it. And then you can always do a little test on yourself later and see what you can remember. It's quite fun. But yeah, the reason I brought up all of this, was that when I was in the park the other day, I was sitting on a chair, on a bench, meditating. And the one thing that I really noticed with sounds are, my goodness, it's almost as if they're distorted when you've got your eyes closed, especially outside. And when I say distorted, I mean they sound a lot louder than they would normally. When you've got your eyes open, sounds are, yeah, they're just a kind of regular vibration. But when your eyes are closed, it can feel like all the sounds you hear are much closer to you. So that's quite an interesting idea, to let go of the normal way of hearing sounds to with your eyes closed. And you tune in so much more when one of your senses is down, like your eyes are closed. And the reason I bring this up is that a good challenge for you when you're meditating is when people pass you, you will hear them talking, and you can either choose to get drawn into their conversations because you know what they're saying, or you can let them go. And what was interesting was when somebody walked by who was speaking in a language that I didn't understand. So all I could hear was the sound of those vowels um, as they walked by. And that was quite interesting because I quite enjoyed the sound, the shape. And I could hear it, but I could also let it go. I wasn't tuning into it because I didn't understand the words, and therefore I wasn't taken down that story, that narrative of their conversation. I didn't need to know the answer. Um, I didn't need to know what they were talking about because I fully didn't understand it. Versus when somebody passes you in your own language, and you're kind of a little bit more drawn in. And that's fine. You're just noticing. You're just being aware. So it's really cool, even if you don't meditate, just to sit on a park bench and close your eyes for a few moments or minutes, see how long you last, and just listen around you. It's a really nice, mindful experience. All right, let's get on with it. So make sure you're really, really comfortable, and yeah, give yourself some shuffle time if you need that. I always say at the beginning of these meditations to don't try and meditate at the beginning. Don't even think about that. Just close your eyes and just notice. So it takes time. If you can close your eyes and just notice, then you're already being present and aware. So just take a couple of minutes to really focus on how you are in this moment, how you feel, whether it's emotionally or physically, how your breathing might be, what your thoughts may be. What are the sounds around your space? And how many can you hear? Can you differentiate between the different sounds, or does it just feel like one big sound? Quite often, when we have distant sounds, for example, traffic out on the street or a couple of streets away, it's more of a kind of hum. So, just seeing if you can kind of get closer to that sound and detect whether or not it's cars or bigger vehicles, or maybe it's some machinery you can hear. And whether those sounds come and go, so in other words, if they're traveling or if they're constant. And then bring those sounds a little bit closer. So it might be immediately outside your house, your flat, your room. And if it's not outside, it might be outside the room that you're in. So it could be in your building, but you can still hear people outside of your space. You might hear the odd snippets of conversation if you've got other people living in the same building. And then bringing the awareness of sounds into the room that you're in. Now, that can be very, very subtle. There's not much going on in there. It might even be just the sound of your own breath in and out of your body. Or there might be a clock with a gentle tick. Or it could be a slight hum in your laptop or computer, phone. Or it could just be the sound of silence, which is quite a full, heavy energy. You're just aware of the silence. And sometimes when you really tune into the silence, you might hear little nuances in that silence. It can be like a very, very soft buzz, very, very subtle, maybe, maybe not. So you've got these different layers of sound, very far away to middle ground to right inside the same space. Now we're going to start doing some breathing exercises. So I'm going to start off with one that can really help to relax your system. When I count to three, I want you to let go of all of your breath. So you'll push it all out. And a really good way to do that is to really draw the navel into the spine at the very end of the breath. So you pull your stomach muscles in, and that just pushes out the rest of the breath. You don't have to do that with every breath. That's just exhausting, but it's good to do it at the start. And you can really kind of empty the lungs by doing that. So when I count to three, we're going to breathe out, and then we're going to count in. I'll count you in, but we're going to count in for six. We're going to hold it. We're going to hold the breath for four, and we're going to breathe out for six. But I want you to breathe out through your mouth. See if you can breathe in through your nose, and you'll be breathing out through your mouth. And when you breathe out through your mouth, you'll be listening to the sounds and also trying to stagger it so that it's you breathe out evenly enough for the time you get back down to the sixth second you've let go of all of the breath. So it takes a little bit of practice sometimes to take in the right amount of air and release the right amount as well. I'm going to repeat that six in, holding six out 5 times. All right, so the good idea is to let go of all the breath before we start. So same thing again, when we count to three, we'll let go of all of the breath and I will count you in. All right, so just inhale for a little bit now. 1, 2, 3. Let it all go. Push the last bit out. And then breathing in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And hold. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And hold. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And hold. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let that go. Just let that go. And I don't know if you noticed, but on the last one, I let you hold it for an extra couple of seconds. Were you aware of that? Or did it just feel quite natural? You got used to holding your breath. You got used to the count. Just wondering if that extra 2 made any difference. And if it did, how did that make you feel? Did you feel like you needed to breathe out, or was it quite easy? The reason I do it at the end, or I did that one at the end, just sneak that one in there, is because when you get used to holding your breath at the top and then you release it, as we did with the previous 4, it just relaxes your system. So you are then able to hold that breath in for a little bit longer and then let it go. And this helps to relax you even more. So just allowing yourself to sit in this really nice, quiet space And just take your mind's eye to behind your eyelids. And just notice what comes up on the screens of your eyelids. What can you see there? What colors come up? What shapes? Can you keep the focus there? And just notice how your body responds now to not having to count or do the conscious breath exercise. It's kind of letting go of having to breathe a certain way. You are taking a literal breather and just noticing how the body responds. Does it feel more relaxed? Can you soften your body more? And we'll take it on a little body scan just to really allow the body to soften even more into this whole experience. So, when I mention a part of your body, just bring your attention there, bring your awareness there, but you don't have to do anything. You can just by bringing your awareness to that part of your body can be enough just to soften it. It can be enough just to bring awareness there so that you are isolating the parts, feeling them in separation. And just by doing that, you become a little bit more in touch with the muscles there. And sometimes just by bringing our attention to a muscle, it can kind of soften, it can kind of let go. So just really hone in on your awareness as I mention each part and see what happens. All right, so we're going to start off with your right heel, the heel of your right foot. Just bring your attention there as though you're feeling it from the inside. And then the middle arch of your right foot, the right big toe, the second toe, the third toe, the fourth toe, and the little toe. Now, the skin on top of your right foot, see if you can take your awareness to the bottom of your toes where the skin starts to become the top of the foot and trace it up towards your ankle. That smooth skin up towards your ankle. Then, just by bringing your awareness to your ankle, it might release a little bit, might let go of holding on to any little ligaments, tendons. Just allow it to soften there. And then take your attention to the left side, to your left foot, your left big heel. The middle arch of your left foot, the left big toe, and the second toe, third toe. See if you can feel them in isolation from each other. The fourth toe and the little toe. And the skin on top of your foot tracing up to your left ankle and softening there, letting go. And then just taking the awareness up to your calf muscles. So your calf muscles are generally quite heavy, so just feeling that go as if gravity is just pulling them down to the earth, just really heavy there. And then at the front of your shins, just getting a sense of the bone, the skin, which is quite tight over the shin bone, right up to your knees on both sides, below the knee, above the knee, behind the knee, and inside the knee, inside the kneecap. And softening there, coming up to your sitting bones. It's probably where most of the weight is if you're sitting. Most of the weight is pulling the hips and the sitting bones down to the earth with gravity. And then just take your attention to the bottom of your spine where your sacrum sits, that really nice little kind of flat piece of bone at the bottom of the spine. And imagine somebody is zipping you up the back, up your spine, along the vertebra, each one, zipping you right up to the nape of your neck. Letting go of the zip, and then imagine two hands just very gently resting on your shoulders and allowing them to slip away from your ears. And then just take your attention to your right elbow, your right wrist. And if you don't have your palms facing up at the moment, then just turn your palms so they're facing up and resting on your lap. And again, like the toes, when I mention each of your fingers, see if you can feel them from the inside, i.e., get a sense of where they are without moving them. There's a tendency to want to move them just to check. See if you can keep them really still and just feel from the inside. It's quite cool because the more you keep your hands where they are without moving them, they start to get a little bit numb and a bit tingly. And it's really interesting then to see if you can sense each finger individually without moving it. So let's start that then. So taking your attention to your right hand, and now your awareness to your right thumb. And then your right index finger. And then the middle finger. And then the fourth finger. And the little finger. And then to the skin on the palm of your hand. And it's here where, when you don't move your fingers, you try to get a sense of whether your palm, the skin there, feels creased or if you've got a flat palm. And it's very difficult to tell without moving your hand. So it's just that idea of when everything starts to go a little bit tingly or numb, you lose the control, and it's quite nice just to kind of let go of that and just sense any sensations, be aware of any sensations that come up. And it's also at a time like that that you can start to notice the feeling of energy sometimes. But anyway, we'll leave that there and we'll go over to the left side. So just keep your right hand where it is and try not to move the fingers. We'll do the left side. So let's just take the attention to the left elbow first, relaxing there. The left wrist. And then again, take your attention to your left thumb. Index finger. Middle finger, the fourth finger, and then the little finger. And then take your attention back to the palm of the hand, the skin there, if it's creased or flat. And then just be aware of both of your hands. It's quite often at this point, they've been still for a while, that you might feel a joint energy. You might feel energy in both of your hands. And it can feel like um, as if you have two small footballs, one in each hand. That kind of weight can feel like that. And these are just suggestions. You might not feel that. You might just feel your hands relaxing on the back of your thighs, your lap. Or you might be a little bit more aware of any pins and needles, any tingling sensations in your fingers. And you might have noticed also, maybe it happened for you, maybe it didn't, but sometimes when I mention each finger, it's almost like a kind of nervous twitch that happens, and that's without you even doing it. So you're just noticing all of these little feelings in your body. Now, keeping that sense in your hands, whatever you're feeling, whatever it might be, just keeping the awareness in your hands as a subconscious awareness. So, in other words, it's like keeping it in the back of your mind. Then bring your attention back to the top of your neck. So, where the neck meets the skull. And then in your mind's eye, tracing over the back of the scalp, right up to the crown of your head, so the top of your head, and imagine that somebody is very gently tapping the top of your head. That is what it feels like to sense the crown of the head from the inside. I want you to imagine that there is a beam of sunlight shining on top of the crown of your head. And I want you to imagine that that beam is coming right through the crown of your head, down through the center of your skull, down your neck, and into your chest. And when it gets to your chest cavity, it expands out to the side. Now, I want you to take a nice in breath here and really be conscious of the ribs coming out to the sides on that expansion. You can feel the sunlight filling you up, and then it narrows back down to the beam again. But when you take another in breath, you're expanding the light out to the sides, and then again exhale back to the beam. So every time you breathe in, you don't have to take such big breaths now, but every in breath just fills that chest cavity with light. Every exhale back to the beam. And then imagine that beam coming down into your pelvis and then separating. So it goes down each one of your legs, down through the calf muscle, down to the ankle and to your feet. Take another conscious breath so you can really feel the ribcage coming to the sides on the in breath and the sunlight filling up that space. And then I want you to imagine it going down both of your arms as well. So filling up your arms with light all the way into those hands that might still be feeling tingly. You may have moved them, in which case the tingling might have gone. Just filling them up with this light. And now this sunlight, this beam, has connected all the dots. So in other words, We went around the body, isolating each part. I want you to bring this light in through the crown of your head. Don't forget about where it's coming from, the crown of your head, filling up your body, and just really making the body feel as one, as though it is one cell, breathing in the sunlight and letting that sunlight wash over you on the out breath. So every in breath, you keep filling the whole body with light. Every out breath, you're just letting it wash over you. Just sit with that for a moment. Feel the sensation. This is what we were talking about at the beginning, about when you can bring in the positive emotion, you can then really help develop your serotonin levels. Your positive mood can affect the serotonin levels. So keep filling yourself up with light. And then you can think of a really positive word, one that you really like, that resonates with you. So it could be happy, it could be joy, it could be love, it could be gratitude, it could be clarity, it could be fun, whatever you need right now. Say that word a couple of times as you're breathing in the sunlight, you're breathing it all in. Just saying it really quietly to yourself inside. And then just put a little I am in front of it. So if you chose happy, you'll be breathing in I am happy. Feeling the chest expand, feeling the light come in. And just repeating that a few times. It could be I am happy, I am joyful. If you chose clarity, it could be I am clear. If you chose gratitude, it was I am grateful. Whatever feels right for you right now, the first word that comes to your mind, own it. I am. Allow yourself to expand on every inhale with this beautiful positive light. So every inhale is taking another sip of this golden positive light, filling your body. And also check in with how your body really is feeling. Does it still feel soft, or are you concentrating so hard on filling yourself up that you've allowed the shoulders to get a bit stiff? Can they drop away from the ears again? Is there anywhere in your body you can release a little bit more, melt on every out breath? Let the sun melt you on every out breath. So I'd like you to sit with that for as long as it's meaningful and calming for you. It's really nice to bring yourself out of it, of the meditation, whenever you are ready. And that's usually kind of when it starts to dissolve a little bit. So if you're feeling that good feeling, stay with it as long as it lasts. Like, take it as long as you need. And just when you are ready, this is why meditation is so unique. And it'll change every day for you. But just stay with it as long as it feels good. And when you are ready, just make sure that you come out of your meditation in a really slow, mindful way. Don't just finish it with an alarm and rush off and do the rest of your day. See if you can bring yourself out so that you can hold on to this beautiful sunlight, this feeling of positivity as long as you can, and then transition with that feeling into the rest of your day. So I'm going to leave you here so that you've got the option to finish when you feel like it. Take care of yourself, and I will see you soon.